right, welcome back to All Hitches, Nova's #1 football podcast. Coach Mesa, how are you today, buddy?
I'm doing all right. I did my civic duty today. Went and voted like a good American citizen should.
Where's your sticker, buddy? I got the presidential seal.
You do. My sticker's upstairs, I think.
Yeah,
I like the old school, the oval I voted. I think they should just go back to that.
got a little fancy. Yeah, my wife and I, we've been voting together for like 20 years. You know, we always go together.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a nice little thing we do. So that was cool. Knocked that out midday today, and doing some yard work on a nice day outside.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. We've had the weather we've had is, and I looked at the 12-day forecast, and this pertains to football, right? I mean, 12-day forecast. There's a couple like 40% chance of rain days.
Yeah.
Everything is either 60 degrees or warmer. It's wild.
Yeah, it's weird, right? It's interesting. I mean, to be the one this time of year.
And like we've been saying, there are some teams out there that are doing rain dances, doing cold dances. They want rain, they want sleet, they want snow, they want mud.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
you're ready to throw the ball around. This is good weather for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Yeah, I was thinking Monday the 18th, high is 60.
I'm telling you, and that's the lowest, that it'll be.
And then Tuesday, a high of 54. So as we get close to the Thanksgiving break. Actually,
right.
Thanksgiving, you big Thanksgiving guy?
Oh yeah. I mean, I know it's kind of a road bump on the way to the holidays, right? To presents and all that stuff, but I like it. It's big on my wife's family.
Yeah.
Like they all come in town because her family's everywhere. They all come in town. We host it. We host my family and her family. The football throwing out in the yard. When my kids were younger, I would kind of host a flag football game.
Oh, okay.
And we'd go out and play a little flag football. I'd get donuts for the kids and we'd go play. They've kind of outgrown that, sadly. Maybe they'll come back around to that, with their buddies.
Yeah.
If they ever do that, I will volunteer to be like the Ed Hockey League, and I'll just go and I'll be the ref.
That sounds pretty cool.
Right?
You do some push-ups before. He was the guy who's famous for doing push-ups before the game, right? Get a little pump in his arms.
And Hercules, they used to call him.
Yeah.
His son's official now. Sean Hockey League.
Yeah. Not a lot of rep. I mean, somewhat related. The lack of high school refs, right? It's getting bad.
It is, man. We need more. We need more, young officials to because the officials do listen to our show, which I'm proud to say, and at least some of them do. And I mean they need help. They need help, and it's a great. I had friends who did it, years ago, and for a part-time, basis for a couple of years, and they stopped. But I mean, it's good extra money. If you know football and you want to be around it, and you're not coaching it. And you have the free time to do it. It's a great way. Best seat in the house.
Yeah, and and any parents out there, that's why, these guys don't make a whole lot of money. I know you get upset about calls they make. They're doing the best they can out there.
Right.
Not a lot of refs are siding one way or the other. So those guys are out there. Give those guys a break. It's a really hard job, and keep on riding them. And then you may end up having to play games Monday through Friday because you don't have enough refs for one night slate.
Right, and it allowed us to be our public service announcement, right? I mean, you always hear, the fan might maybe yells at the coach, and you hear someone say, "Well, why don't you go sign up and you can go coach the team?" All right, so if you don't like the refs and you're bummed about stuff, go sign up, take the requisite classes, and go become a ref.
Have you ever umpired or refereed a game?
I mean, well, outside of my day job as a kind of ref kids games, but you mean outside of like PE classes?
Have you ever done it?
Like officially?
Officially.
No, never officially.
So the only thing I've ever done is I've done actually no, I take that back. When I was in New Mexico on July 4th, they would host a 7-on-7 tournament for kids from like 6 until up to 18. And so the staff would referee the game. So it was a really good fundraiser too. You'd be surprised because on July 4th they was off. They'd show up, they'd play a few games, it'd be a tournament style, and then afterwards they'd have a firework at the stadium. Anyway, so I've reffed those, and then I did Little League umpiring.
Okay.
And it's awful. It's awful. Like, you're doing the best you can out there. You're not a pro. I mean, it's not an easy job, and like the people yell at you, and you're like, look, I'm doing the best I can. I mean,
And you were home plate?
yeah, I was behind the plate. Yeah, I've been
That's
behind.
the worst. That's
Yeah.
easily the worst.
The funny thing is people yell at you, and you're like, I'm right here. You're 50 yards away, but you're going to tell me what a ball and strike is. And it's the same thing in the stands, right? So that's why I always think to myself, I never yell at officials. I might get upset. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there have been times I have gotten upset with officials. But I try to come in understanding like it's a hard job.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And they're not professionals at doing it either.
Right, right. For me, I think I'd be good at it.
Yeah.
I think I'd be good at it. Father of 5, spent my whole adulthood reffing the battles in the house. Yeah. Outside teacher, right? Especially, being a PE teacher, kind of reffing, a lot of stuff over the years, 20 years of reffing, 7 or 5 classes a day, right? I think I'd be pretty good at it.
Yeah, it's definitely a thankless job. And we want to thank the refs out there who are still doing it.
Heck yeah.
Not an easy job to do. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I get back to coaching game, you back coaching game, I'm sure eventually I'll say something to you guys that may not be the best thing in the world. But know that in my heart, in mi corazón, as they say in Espanol, I know you guys are trying hard out there. So
yeah. No, for sure. And like I said, the officials who listen to this show, we appreciate them. And like you said, thankless job, and keep doing what you're doing. We got love for you here. We got love for you at all Hitches.
We do.
Well, buddy, speaking of thankless work, you and I have been kind of digging, looking at these matchups. There's going to be whoever the math geniuses are that are figuring out these points after these week 11 games. Man, kudos to them.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of numbers, a lot. Too much adding,
right?
Back into Biden, multiply.
We don't know. We still don't know. We're looking at some of these, and we're like, well, depends on if they win, but then the opponent that they had, did they win that game? Did they win that game? So we don't really know. We can kind of give the basic kind of obvious ones, but I think there might be, depending on how matchups go, there might be a couple surprise jumps.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And we looked through it. We got 7. That's the sensational 7 came back one more time for week 11.
Sensational 7?
It's a supreme 7.
Supreme 7.
I mean, holy smokes, looking at this. And you could have picked a number of games, to lead things off. And even the best of the rest had some games that we probably could have made it.
Yeah. But I think the 7 we picked all have like real big playoff implications.
Right.
So right now we are talking just based off of what we have right now. So
right.
I know you guys tuned in to hear about other things that when you tune in, that thing may have been decided. As of right now, nothing's been decided. So we are just gonna push through and talk about the games as they stand right now.
We're gonna talk about these games, these week 11 games, and if any news breaks from VHSL, we're gonna go live just to address that.
Yeah.
To do it. We'll go live just to address that. This is all about the week 11 ball games, which is what it should be about.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So here we are, week 11, leading things off, buddy. Everyone's game of the week. We start off the season talking about Coach Slay and the great things he's doing at Oakton, the Cardiac Cougars, and we are going to end things here. Week 11, Chantilly and Oakton, buddy. What do you think about it?
So it's essentially a playoff game for both of them in terms of whichever team loses is out. The other ones, they have to still win some point battles between other teams. But with both of them, with a loss, they're out. And then with a win, they still have to have some point things go correctly, right? So some teams that they beat, hopefully they get wins. There's a maximum amount of points they have. And again, shout out to the hayfieldfootball.com person. Again, reach out to us. We'd like to know who you are. I mean, we don't even know who you are. So if you're out there, and maybe you can talk to us about how you end up figuring out all this stuff, like what kind of math stuff you do. Or if anyone knows who he is.
You remember Inspector Gadget?
I do. Dr. Claw.
The hand. You never saw his face. Huh?
Dr. Claw.
Dr. Claw. The Hayfield guy is Dr. Claw.
Not that you're an evil person. But yeah, so it's essentially a playoff game for both of them in terms of a loss and they're out. Because there's one spot and there's 4 teams vying for that spot. So, huge implication on that game. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see that Oakton defense against Samir Mantry. It'll be interesting, how this is all going to play out. What exciting game to be in though, right? Essentially it's going to be a playoff atmosphere, is what.
Yeah, could you imagine? I mean, the Oakton faithful, right? The Oakton faithful. It's at Oakton. That place is going to be rocking.
Yeah.
Right. You're gonna. I don't know if it's a white out or a red out or whatever, but let's just say you're gonna see maroon and gold everywhere. It's gonna be. I mean, that's gonna be fun and an electric atmosphere. And like
Now,
you said,
both of them have played some overtime games. Could that game go to an overtime?
cardiac Cougars.
Now, I think both Chantilly, right? Chantilly was in a overtime game last week. I could have sworn there. No.
Yeah, or yes, over the last couple of weeks they did have a game that went down to the
Now, with your season on the line, let's say in overtime, do you go for two? Do you go for two, knowing that if you miss, your season's done?
I tend to think it's all about the momentum of the game,
Yeah.
right? If let's just say hypothetically, you're Chantilly and you scored, the game's been 7-0 all game, and then you score right at the end there. I think you wouldn't have to go for it. You can let it play out because no one's scoring right now, right? Yeah. Now, if the score is 42-35, Chantilly were to score, and or a team were to score, the other team's going to come back and score. But it's been going that way all game. Yeah, go for two and either win or to lose it right there. I think it all depends on the type of game that it is.
Yeah. So talking from a coaching perspective, I learned this years ago. The guy who was a head coach at Long Beach Poly, and he was the head coach there when I was. Actually, I think he graduated with my aunt. Like that's how he not my aunt. My aunt's old, but whatever. I'm old. Coach Jaso was big on, and I think I'm talking about this in four. He would already determine whether or not he was going to go for two for a win during the week and have a play set up, and they'd practice play every day. They practice it 15 times all week. So if and when that time came, he'd be like, okay, this is the play we're running. There's no thinking about it. There's no, what play do I call? What's work? He would have it. He'd have it in his play sheet. They would self-determine. I know one year they lost to Modern Day going for two. But it was the play that they were like, no, we had already known this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. This is the play we're calling. If we're in position to win the game, and this is the play we're calling, this is what we're doing. So,
Let me ask you though, someone like that, was it kind of like what I just said? Was it gut feeling? I mean, did he have some sort of system for going for it?
If it came down to go for two for the win or tie it up with a field goal with a PAT, they had already predetermined before the week we're going for two,
regardless of the score, momentum.
No. So go for two in the win, right? So in an overtime situation, Team A scores, they kick the extra point, they're up 7. Team B gets a ball, they score, kick the extra point, flip it around, and now you play the second overtime, or you go for two in the win. Same thing. Like
you meant in overtime specifically, not fourth quarter with 5 seconds left in the game.
Maybe with 5 seconds left to go in the game too. The thing is that you don't want these, and I believe in this. You don't want anybody second guessing. If you tell the team, this is what we're doing, we're going for two. We're gonna take control. We're gonna control our destiny. We're not gonna believe it's a chance. It's gonna be up to us. It's gonna be up to us whether we win or lose. And I think you get everybody going behind it. So that way,
I get it. I mean, I get that. I do get that. You control your own destiny. I get all that. I just feel like circumstances matter. And I think if that's a heck of a way to live. I mean, that's living on the edge. I love it. But if you give me I have the 2000 Ravens defense, and the score is 6-6. I'm playing it safe because I know I probably get the ball back quick. I'll be able to stop them, and we're going to score and win this game anyway. So again, I think to me it all depends on the circumstances of the game. But I do like living on the edge like that. I'm envious of that.
I don't know if it's living on the edge. It's just telling them that like this is it's predetermined. There's not going to be any. You're not going to score and then be like, no one's going to say, are we going for two? Do I send the field goal team out there? Kids are looking around. When you score, you're like, nope, run this play.
But I like having the play anyways. Yeah. I mean, even if you don't.
Now,
I think you should always have that play, something you work on regardless.
Well, oddly enough, I remember the story. I remember too much about football. I should remember more about, where I leave my remote control for the TV. I remember years ago, I was watching a Notre Dame game, and they had a 2-point play, but they had a 4th and 1 that they had to do that, and they used their 2-point play on the 4th and 1. They then get there and they have to go for 2, and now they have to come up with a brand new 2-point play because sometimes they're in a situation where like, well, we're on a 4th and 1. This play is going to work. It's going to get us a first down. They burn their 2-point play, and then once they scored, they had to come up with a new 2-point play, and I think they got it.
Yeah,
I think it was
for sure.
a New Hope's team. It might have been the Jerome Bettis Reggie Books team, which don't get me wrong, I'm an SC fan true and through. I really like that Jerome Bettis Reggie Books team. Man, they were. I think Rick Meyer was the quarterback. I mean,
yeah. There were some solid players in those teams.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know we kind of deviated the conversation there, but not too much because again, we're talking about a team like the Cardiac Cougars that have probably had these conversations all year long.
Right. Yeah.
And it could be one more of those as this game kind of that is a game of the week. That's a fun game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, buddy. Well, that's game 1 of the sensational Supreme 7. Heading to the next game, and we're staying right there, buddy. We are staying right there in Concord. We got Centerville and Madison. A whole bunch of stuff going on here. Talk about it.
Yeah, so one, Madison has to continue to win because they are currently tied in points with WNL, so they have to continue to win in order to secure that 1 seed. And even then, it's not complete. It's not for sure secure. Now, more than likely, if the win, it is. For Centerville, win or go home. This is a playoff game. Now they're going to need some things to break right for them. Still make the playoffs with a win, but if the loss, it is all she wrote for them. And I'm sure that Coach Shields and that staff are really looking forward to try to get back into the playoffs after missing the playoffs last year.
Oh yeah, I mean that. I feel like I think you said this when you were talking about I don't know if it was Braddock, South County, or one of these rivalry games recently. Throw the records out the window. It doesn't matter. I mean, these two teams know each other well. I remember a couple of years ago it was kind of flipped, where Centerville was the juggernaut that year. Yeah. I think Madison upset them in this game.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe you're right.
Or in the playoffs, was they upset them in one or the other. And I don't even know if it's an upset when these two teams play each other, regardless of who wins. No love lost here. And this goes to youth football. I mean, I remember the powerhouses at Centerville versus the powerhouses at Vienna Youth League playing each other. And now you got it right here. You got the powerhouse at Centerville versus the powerhouse at Madison. Centerville's really come on late in the season.
Yeah.
It was that almost win against Westfield that I feel like was kind of the turning point for them. And so that's going to be a good game. Shields is coming on, and I like the idea. They're probably going to have to throw it.
Yeah.
And we know Madison can stop the run.
Yeah.
Let's see how Madison does playing the team is going to
Madison the back end is pretty good. Their back end is pretty good. I think they're overall they're really good. It's going to be a tall task for Centerville, but there's pressure on both teams, right? It's not like there are other games out there where one team has zero pressure because they've already kind of locked their seating. It's kind of over. They can rest their guys. That's not the case for Madison. Madison has to get a win, or else they're going to be the 2 seed.
And we might as well talk about it now. I think we alluded to it in the live last week. Madison might be the 2 seed no matter what. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with some of these games. Yeah. And WNL might take the 1 seed regardless if they both win.
It'll be really hard for them to overtake, though. According to
I don't know. The Stonebridge game might come back to haunt Madison, which is crazy because Stonebridge is a really good team. 5A team with a lot of losses. It's not going to carry the same weight. Madison a year ago, remember, they jumped South Lakes because of some of the tough games they played. Yeah. This year, that Stonebridge game does not go down, in terms of points. Doesn't have the same weight as it did a year ago.
It'll be interesting how this all goes down. The max amount of points that whatever is 354. The max amount of points Madison gets 356.
Wow.
So I mean, there's a chance. I'm curious with a tie. If they tie in total points, how that plays out, like what the tiebreaker is.
Probably like the points for, points against. It's got to be something like that, right?
Way too much math.
Yeah, a lot of math. That's when you start bringing in Hayfield Hawks, the Hayfield guy. You bring in the one. What's the one guy's name? He wrote us in the live chat. The mathematics genius at the college.
Oh yeah. I forgot his name.
You start hiring the big guns. Yeah, Albert Einstein's out there. All right. Well, that's gonna be a great one. All right. Third game. We are going to Liberty. Liberty, Liberty's always got to make an appearance in the games of the week somewhere. Liberty is always lurking. We're talking about Madison. Now we're talking about W now, fighting for that 1 seed versus Wakefield, who's looking to play spoiler. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, big game for them. They've got to find a way to continue to win games, to kind of take care of a pretty talented Wakefield team that's kind of shown some flashes. Wakefield's playing out the stretch, but there's a chance for them to kind of make their name in the playoffs by knocking off WNL, which I think could be pretty good.
Oh yeah, I mean, Wakefield's kind of playing the role of Marshall from a year ago, right? This is your chance to kind of pull the upset off, and I mean, could you imagine? That'd be a huge upset.
Yeah. Oh, gigantic for sure.
And that'd be a great way for Coach Martin and Wakefield and company to kind of end the season off too.
A little bit like Marshall last year, knocking out.
Was it Herndon? They had a big win. Like, was it Herndon or Yorktown?
Out of Yorktown.
Marshall had a big win at the end of last year.
Yeah, I think they beat Yorktown at the very end of the year.
And they took that momentum into this year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, I'm sure Wakefield's looking to do the same thing. So that's going to be a big one. Again, we'll be looking at those numbers to see, who wins the battle, WNL or Madison there. All right. Fourth game. We got South County versus West Potomac. More implications there. What do we got?
Yeah. So with that, what was up here? With that, West Potomac, if they win, they're in. So much like a flip on the Oakton Chantilly game where a loss they're out, a win they're in. They could end up with a loss, and then either AC or Robinson loses, then they're in. So that'll be interesting. South County, now it looks like they may be in the 5 seed regardless. I don't think they are. I don't think it's possible. Fairfax would have to lose, and then everything would have to break. Everything would have to play completely right for South County to jump up into the 4 seed. So it looks like Fairfax and South County are playing each other in the first round. I think that's happening. So
you think so, huh?
And with that, who knows? Maybe South County goes, you know what? We've had some bumps and bruises this year. Maybe they'll place one of the guys early, because if they're locked into their matchup now, if they want to try to get the home game, but even with the win, it may be really difficult for things to break for them. So we'll see. But it should be interesting. It should be an interesting game. If I remember correctly, Westpo played them pretty tough last year.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and they almost beat them in the playoff game, right?
Yeah, they came like a yard away from winning that game.
Yeah.
And Westpo, we said it last week, they are the hottest team in the state of Virginia. They've played 4 games in like 8 days, 9 days, something crazy like that.
3 games and 7 games. In 2 weeks, they played 4 games.
So 4 games in 11 days.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. So now people were asking about Sanchez at quarterback. Is he back this week? We don't know. But, if both teams are healthy, we know Soko. We had Carl on this past week, and he told us that Soko seemed pretty healthy. They had Orth, and they had some other guys back, and their quarterback's playing good. This could be a big game. Big game.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. Fifth game of the week. Mount Vernon, Edison. These guys are fighting for that 8 seed.
Yeah, so it's another game where pull this up here. Edison winning, they're in. They have to beat Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon wins, and then they need a couple things to break right, and then they're in. So with a loss, Edison can't get with a loss, but then they need either AC or Robinson to lose as well, which is a doable thing. But it will be interesting that with both AC and Robinson are technically playing teams with really nothing to lose. Robinson's playing Fairfax with nothing to lose.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting how they play out that game. So Edison can't rely on one of those teams losing, because you don't know what the how the other teams are going to be playing, who they're going to be playing against. So Edison get in with the win. With a loss at that point, Mount Vernon's got a chance, but then they need some things to break right for them as well. Very very much a similar situation where after they win, now all of a sudden they are having their DSA call up other schools and try to find out scores and try to do the math. I'm sure somebody out there could probably do the math and been like, if these 3 wins, I don't know, it's way too bad.
It's a lot of math. Yeah, Mount Vernon, Edison. I mean, Edison's really, impressed people this year. They graduated a lot of guys last year, and yet they've kind of answered the bell and they've made a run. You got to respect that. And then Mount Vernon, I think there's a lot of talent over there. We had Matt Moret, player of the week last week, coming on. So that will be a fun one for essentially number 2 in national.
Yes, the number 2 in national. Yeah.
Impressive stuff. All right, buddy. We are going out west. We're taking a limo out west, taking a limousine, because there's some fancy games out here, buddy. Big games.
So these are probably the games of the week. These are probably the 2 games. They're probably number 1, number 2.
I think so too. I'm showing my West bias here, but you know what? I don't have West bias because I had Patriot as my number 1 team, my power rankings almost all season. Now, not anymore, but I did have them. But I'll tell you what, some people questioned me. I got hate mail saying, how could you do such an exodus? How could you treat him that way? Well, I'll tell you what, here's a deal I'm going to make with everyone out there. Patriot wins this game against Battlefield. They win the conference, and guess what? They're right back where they left off. I'm putting them right back to the top again. How's that? There's a deal I'm making. So that was just a minor bump in the road. Patriot versus Battlefield, what do you got for us?
I mean, big game, right? Even though Patriot lost last week, they win this game, and they are district champs. They are district champs. Right now, Patriot is sitting at 2, 3. They're sitting at the 4 seed right now. But there are a bunch of teams that are 7-2. I mean, they could drop, like a rock.
That's crazy.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and Wood. No, talk about Woodbridge. But depending on what happens, who knows where they end up at? They could possibly still make the playoffs. Actually, I think they will. I think they're locked in.
Okay.
I thought last week that there's a chance that they could drop. Well, I think that they'd probably drop down to the 8 seed.
Okay.
They'd probably drop down all the way down to the 8 seed, which would be just fascinating if that did happen. Might be the best 8 seed in the state.
Yeah, in history. Now, a couple of questions, right? I mean, one is Jackson McCarthy back from injury or whatever? Does he play in this game? That's kind of he is the straw that stirs the drink over there, right? If he's not, I'll say this. You and I talk about this a lot. Yeah, I know you said earlier Madison's got a good, their DBs are solid, and they are at Madison. I do question Battlefield. How many great passing attacks has Battlefield faced this year? And this might be one where Knutson puts it on his back if he doesn't have McCarter and says, "Let's go, bombs away, baby."
Well, I don't think we talked about it. Maybe we talked. I think we talked about last week the fact that Battlefield has not given up more than 8 points in any game.
Yeah, right.
And they definitely are looking for a region championship. The one roadblock for the last few years has been freedom in their way.
Right.
Freedom is not freedom anymore. So I'm sure they're looking at this. This is our year. With Callum Lachey and Bukowski on defense. I mean, they're this is their chance to make sure that they kind of claim that top spot in the region.
Now Woodson on their DB. Going to Pitt.
Yeah. I
mean, they're loaded. So let's see what see if Patriot has something for him.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Patriot Battlefield. I mean, the world will be watching. See what happens out there. That winner is your Cedar Run champion.
Yeah. District champ right there.
Impressive stuff in a tough division. All right. Well, we stay out west for the you could say game of the week in a lot of ways. Woodbridge and Garfield. These are 2 Mesa specials all year. Now, this is like the Mega Powers. This is the Mega Powers going in for the handshake here, buddy. This is the Mega Powers going in. Who do you got?
So, who do I got? I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna call this one. This should be a pretty tough one. I think, like I said, looking at it, I think Woodbridge is in. I think they've established themselves because the next team is 5-5, and even if there's a team. Forest Park could be 6-4, but I think based on the fact they beat Forest Park, I think it's done. But this is a chance to crown a brand new Cardinal District champ, right? I mean, It's been the Cardinal District champ for how many years now in a row? So there's a chance for someone to kind of to stake the claim as being the king of the Cardinal District and establish themselves as a team in Woodbridge, right?
That's true. That's very true.
Oh, this is big. Can Garfield focus themselves after a gigantic win last week against Patriot. You know, they got to feel like we've arrived, but not yet, right? And this is your chance to win a district championship next.
That's true. You're right.
Right.
That's a good point. How do you handle when it's a big game, right? That's the kind of game you run off field like you just won a championship, right? Beating Patriot. So the one thing about Garfield, that offense has been coming on strong.
Yeah, no, they look. I'd imagine that this may end up being a high scoring game.
Yeah, I think so too. And the athletes at Garfield, and to your point with Woodbridge kind of filling that, we talked about it all year long, right? Going back to August, what was going to be that team that kind of filled the void of Freedom no longer being the dominant team out there,
right,
in that conference, and we know the answer now. It's either Woodbridge or Garfield. There's the answer. We figured it out.
Right. No, I agree. Yeah, it's crazy, right? It's crazy that it's gonna how it's gonna and in reality, I mean, I think most people might have thought it was gonna be Forest Park, right?
Right. But certain people, that would be you and the incomparable Carl Frederick, Nova's Adam Schefter. You guys were on the Woodbridge Garfield trains early.
Yeah.
Giving you guys a lot of credit. I know you like Forest Park too. But really all three of those teams played great all year. So good for you guys in predicting that. You guys know your stuff. You know your Prince William football. Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, there is the supreme, the sensational number 7, right? Yeah. 7 games, 7 beautiful games. Can't wait. All right. We're not done, buddy.
I am disappointed no one took us on our offer to go and do a pregame, halftime, and postgame. I'm a little sad about that. Someone did say it would be lit.
Yeah, we had a comment, and that person said it'd be awesome.
Yeah, but
it's still early in the week, and the playoffs. I mean, we're still weeks off, from any big region championship games and that kind of thing. So the night is still young, my friend. The night is still young. Well, best of the rest. Here we come.
Yeah,
week 11, and it's a good slate. You could have made an argument. I got one for you right now. This really was superpower versus superpower back in the day. All right. And, when these two went at it, everybody stopped what they were doing and they tuned in. Lake Braddock, Robinson, the Battle of Burke right there, buddy.
Yeah, and there are some playoff implications for Robinson. Lake Braddock, on the other hand, can rest easy. They are locked into the number 2 seed right now. There is no catching them. They are district champs. So, what do they do? Do you play your kids do you treat it like the second preseason game? Play your kids for a quarter, get them in and get them out, keep everybody healthy, let your kids go through, or do you play? I can't imagine them playing their kids the whole game. I can't see it because they have bigger visions in their eyes than winning this game. Don't get me wrong. I mean, every game is important, but right now they are trying to prepare themselves for another region run.
Well, looking at the scenarios, you and I were talking before the show. Robinson wins. Let's just say Braddock. I mean, they're obviously the underdogs for this game. If everyone's at full throttle, they're the underdogs. Fine. Let's say Braddock rests some guys. Say Robinson pulls the upset off. Okay? There's a scenario for you. Mount Vernon beats Edison. West Potomac or South County beats West Potomac.
Okay.
I think Robinson's in. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Robinson's in because they beat West Potomac, Edison, and Mount Vernon by being 2 of them, and then they have to beat AC in points.
Okay, AC was the third one, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. So the AC game also.
Yeah. So even with the win, because of their loss to AC can still catch them.
But if AC loses to Fairfax, which is also doable.
If AC loses to Fairfax, they need Robinson to lose.
There you go. So Robinson, talking about this Lake Braddock Robinson game, we'll get to AC in a second. Robinson's very much in the playoff hunt here.
Oh, yeah. Now they need some things to break right for them, but
right. But all very probable things.
Yes.
That MGM, right?
Yeah.
Might be saying that agrees with them on some of those. So we'll see. That could make that game fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then you have the whole rivalry aspect, right? You want to go to Burke Town Center. You want to go to the Chipotle in Burke, right?
Oh, Actually, no, it's closer to Robinson.
You want to go to the Target? You want to go to the Target on Guinea Road? Well, if you want to go to those places, you got to win this matchup, buddy.
The Chick-fil-A right there by.
You want to go to Chick-fil-A in Burke?
Or the Walmart right there off of.
That's right. Go to the Walmart. Then you want to go to Kohl's. Everybody was going to Kohl's for the holiday season. You want to go to the Kohl's in Burke? You got to win the Battle of Burke. There it is right there. All right. Here we go, buddy. We got Yorktown, Herndon. That one, does that have any playoff implications? I feel like it does.
They're both in. I don't know if there can be a lot of movement in between the two just because of where they're at points wise. Taking a look at it. Yeah, it would. Yorktown would have no. There's no movement between the two.
Okay.
Because the maximum amount of points, yeah, maybe. Well, if they beat Herndon, and then some things broke right, there could be a switch right there. So I mean, there's some playoff seeding stuff going on between those guys.
Yeah, I feel like depending on who wins, loses, and then other common opponents and that kind of stuff, a lot of teams could jump up one or go down one in the seeding.
Now the question becomes this: if there's not a lot of movement, do you play your guys then, or do you be like, you know what? I mean, I guess you'll look at who you might get in the playoffs.
Right.
That'll be interesting, right?
That will be. Well,
or at what point do you just wave the white flag and be like, look, we got to get ready for.
Right.
Is there a point where you're like, look, we've got to get ready for next week and this isn't worth it at this point.
No, that's true. That's true. All right. Another one that has playoff implications, McLean hanging on, like the old Stallone movie, Cliffhanger, where he's hanging on. McLean is hanging on, and they play rival Langley, the battle of, I guess I'll call it the greater McLean area there.
They want to go to
Tyson's. You want to go to Tyson's Corner? You want to go to Nordstrom's? You want to go to Bloomingdale's?
Cheesecake Factory?
You want to go to Cheesecake Factory and Coastal Flats? Then you got to win this game.
Just like the other teams in that region, a loss and they're out. A loss and they're out. So McLean has to win, and then they have to beat these other team points. So essentially, it's a playoff game for McLean. And Langley can tell those guys hit the road, right?
Right.
Don't come on Georgetown Pike anymore.
Yeah, don't be seen on my block. Wow. So big game for McLean. Langley, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how many teams play guys for the whole game or for a half, or how long some of the starters stay in for some of these teams.
Well, Langley can end up in the 4-5 matchup, though. Langley does have something to play because if they lose and Westfield wins against South Lakes, Westfield jumps to the 3, Langley jumps to the 4, which means in the second round, if you win, you're playing the 1 seed as opposed to playing the 2 seed.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So keep an eye on that one as well.
Yeah.
All right. Next one up. What they call Battle of the Bell. Who's ringing the bell, my friend? Is it Falls Church and your guy, Coach Coogan, or Justice?
So like a lot of these games with teams that are officially out, this is a way to send your off season. It can really give you some positive notes going to the off season.
Yeah.
Kids are a lot happier walking in on a win and feel a little good about coming the off season with coming up win as opposed to coming up a loss. So Coach Coogan had to ride the playoff hunt until just last week.
Yeah. Just
last week had the playoff hunt, so definitely want to get there. And just the same thing, just as a chance for them to kind of establish themselves as well.
I mean, look, you win Battle of the Bell, right? If you're Coach Coogan and company, and then you celebrate by going to Celebrity Deli and getting a nice sandwich. That's what you do when you win Battle of the Bell. All right. Next one up, actually, maybe the last of the implications. Fairfax versus AC. We alluded to it earlier. This is a big game for AC.
Yeah, it's a huge game for AC and Fairfax and all those teams were like, well, what are we really playing for? We're playing South County next week anyway. Are we playing for a home game? Is that what we're doing? I don't know. So it's going to be them. But AC, on the other hand, can you imagine AC making the playoffs this year?
Man, they're the Oakton of the other region.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If Oakton makes it, the two teams, one was a 1-win team, one is a 0-win team, and then in 1 year, the coaches come in. I guess 2 years for the AC staff, but you come in and you turn things around. That's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah. No, it looks pretty good. So we'll see. We'll see how this one plays out.
And those stories give hope to all the other programs and coaches that are having a tough season. You look at those teams; they managed to do it. You could do it too.
Yeah, and as we know, AC lost some players. Some players went other places to go play.
Yeah, good players.
They moved or whatever happened. They went to other places.
Right.
And they seem to rally themselves, and so I mean, and it goes to show like don't just run for the door. 'Cause you never know, right? If those kids play, I'm telling you right now, AC would be a playoff team.
Yeah, for sure.
If those kids would not have moved away, they're probably a playoff team.
Right.
They didn't prove enough. So,
all right, Hayfield versus Lewis. Tough way to go out for Lewis. Hayfield, the machine just keeps on rolling.
Yeah, this is a chance for them, and we'll see how much they play their guys for this game. Not a whole lot to play for them. They're locked into the 1 seed, I believe. Yeah, they're locked into the 1 seed. So, yeah, we'll see how they do.
So, and we'll get into that discussion in our live probably in a couple days, right? All right, moving on down the slate of games. We've got Annandale. Annandale's playing Rock Ridge. Started with Rock Ridge and it ends with Rock Ridge, buddy.
You know where Rock Ridge is?
I learned in week 1. I learned Rock Ridge is near Dulles Airport.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking about running for mayor of Rock Ridge.
Mayor of Rock Ridge. Yeah, another game where you can set yourself Offseason up well, but with a win.
Yeah, this is a good matchup. For Annandale, and you can kind of end the season off on a strong suit, right? It'd be nice. All right, we got Woodson Cavaliers versus West Springfield. Now, I don't know where West Springfield is in terms of the standings, and if they can move up, depending on maybe a Fairfax loss or a South County loss or Fairfax loss. But that'd be interesting to see if they can they move up from that.
Well, all right, so Fairfax does have some play for it. They can overtake West Springfield.
Okay.
With a West Springfield loss.
So West Springfield's got to win.
They got to win.
Okay. All right. Woodson, one of these teams that we were referring to a second ago, having a down season, but keep your head up. We just referenced AC. We referenced Oakton. Teams have turned it around 1 year to the next.
Yeah.
So it happens. Keep working. And in the off season is where it gets done.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, buddy, we are taking a trip back out west. Marty, we're going back to the future. We're going back out west, but this time we're not taking the limousine. We're taking kind of a rickety old, kind of a jalopy out west. All right. Hop in, buddy. Hilton versus your boys at Forest Park.
Yeah. So, like I said, Forest Park, I think, has some kind of really interesting outside chance to possibly get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they've got to win. Hilton, another team, right? Another team. Hey, let's try to see what we can do next year. Let's see if we can start off some positives for next year. So
100%. If you're Hilton, we just said it about Woodson. If you're Hilton, you're looking at Oakton, AC. Look at some of these teams and try and do that turnaround next year.
Right.
All right. The battle of Osborne, buddy. No, not Norman Osborne, not Ozzy Osborne. Osborne versus Osborne Park.
Yeah. So Osborne, who had a promising year, Osborne Park trying to build some things. There's a chance for Osborne to kind of finish off I think this will put them above 500 season, which would be impressive for them.
Yeah, that would be impressive. Another turnaround.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, for teams to look at. All right, Colgan and Potomac.
Colgan, definitely not the season they had envisioned. But again, another chance for them to kind of build off of continue to get better.
Yeah, for sure. And Potomac, again, same thing. Just, again, look at some of these teams that turnarounds, work hard in the offseason and come back. All right. Unity Reed versus Gainesville. Gainesville kind of maybe they'll, I don't know if they can move up or down.
According to, let's take a look here.
I think it's so bottlenecked there that you probably want to win over there, right?
I mean, you definitely I think that's probably the key thing is it's so bottlenecked that you don't want to lose.
Right.
Right now, Gainesville is the 1, 2, 3, 4. They're the 5 seed right now, and if Patriot loses, you now jump them, and now you are a 4 seed and you get a home playoff game. So. You go from the 2 tough losses to Battlefield and Patriot, and all of a sudden you're back in the 4 seed and you've got a home playoff game, which would be huge in their case.
Oh yeah. So and Unity Reed's got some talent over there, man. Don't sleep on Unity Reed pulling off a little upset.
Yeah.
All right. And then finally, Freedom South Riding versus John Champ. Kind of the battle of South Riding. I know my Loudon geography is not great, but they might share some boundaries there a little bit.
Yeah, and we know a lot about John Champ. They're a really good program. That's about. But Freedom South Riding showing some signs of improvement. There's a chance for them to go against from what I know, from what I've gathered, is a pretty quality football program.
Oh yeah,
and kind of go out on a positive note.
Yeah, Freedom South Riding is kind of they've surprised me all year with just the grit.
Yeah,
they keep coming at you, and then John Champ has a quality team, so that should be a kind of a fun little rivalry match there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps up the best of the rest for Week 11. And again, what a docket of games it is. I mean, it's outstanding games across the board. And, buddy, it's kind of sad to see some of these teams go. You and I were talking about it off camera, and we were thinking that we might not, some of these teams, some of these programs we might not talk about again for, another 8-9 months until next summer.
Yeah.
And in the spirit of that, we're going to play a little game because, I love playing little games here and asking you fun questions. We're going to play a fun one here. I want you to give me 3 non-playoff teams that you think to keep an eye on for next year. Yes, the 3 best non-playoff teams right now.
Forest Park.
That's an easy one.
Osborne.
Huh? Osborne, yeah.
And Colgan.
All out west.
All out west. They're the 3 best non-playoff teams out there.
You can run for mayor of Prince William, buddy. You can run for mayor of Prince William. Those are 3 great selections.
We thought Forest Park was going to win the Cardinal. They have 2 Division I offensive linemen. 2 Division I offensive linemen.
Yeah, you're right, and I see what you mean. There is a difference between next year and right now because, for instance, those guys at Forest Park you're referring to are graduating. Those 2 linemen. So okay. So we're gonna say, now I've been accused of the anti-West bias, and I'm gonna stick with that. I'm not gonna pick any of those teams, partly because it'd be boring if I did. I'd agree with you on Forest Park, though, no matter what. I think Forest Park is, like you said, you got 2 Division I linemen,
and Landon Hunt is
a
monster.
Yeah, so I agree with you there. Now I'm gonna kind of. And I know there's some teams that are hanging on, but they're in the 8 seed still, and they're fighting for the 8 seed. So it kind of takes away some of the teams that I would have picked. But I'm going to looking at this. One, I'm going to say South Lakes. By all means, everything I've heard South Lakes has some good young talent coming up the pike. Right,
Yeah.
they got some juniors on that team. South Lakes, I think, is one of the better. They played a couple really close games with some playoff teams this year.
Okay.
They did. So South Lakes is 1. All right. 2, Wakefield. Wakefield really surprised some teams, right? They surprised some teams. They came around. Langley, remember that? They almost beat Langley.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago.
Hanging
so
around.
Wakefield. Yeah. Wakefield, so that's one of my surprise non-playoff teams, right? Wakefield. And then my third one, and this is impromptu, my friend. Impromptu. Third one on the list, I'm going to go with, you're going to be proud of me here. You're going to be very proud of me. Falls Church. Falls Church was fighting for a playoff spot just until last week?
Yeah.
Right? Coach Coogan did some great things this year. I am going Falls Church. And those are the 3 teams that did not make the playoffs, but really were just so close, and 3 solid teams.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, give him some love. Anti-West bias, maybe not.
We did set Forest Park. Forest Park
would be my 4th, of course.
Yeah,
Forest Park. Yeah, buddy. So there is Week 11 in a nutshell, buddy. Gonna be a fun week. Nice weather.
Yeah, gonna be a fun week. Gonna be an interesting week.
And to that point, we will go live if there's any breaking news to talk about. We will go live, so tune into that. Aside from that, we're going to be glued to our TVs the rest of the night.
I'm going to be watching some Downtown Abbey. Is that what you're talking about? Watching Downtown Abbey?
No, I'm going to be watching Steve Kornacki. Kornacki. Isn't that his name? The guy who wears the khaki
That is
pants
his
all the
name.
time.
That's his name.
I'll be watching Steve Kornacki and
We watch Steve Kornacki probably next week, man.
I know it's so true, but whatever. It's fun, right? It's all sport. It's all sport. It's all fun.
It is.
Right? That's sort of. Sort of. Well, buddy, we will see you maybe tomorrow, maybe tonight on a live. Who knows?
Yeah.
Aside from that, we'll be talking at the games on Friday night.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about all the exciting things happening. We should have a playoff bracket ready to go.
Yeah, get them ready. Get them ready.
Yeah. Exciting.
All right. Well, from your All Hitches crew, Coach Mesa and Coach Dash, we'll see you guys next time.
See ya.